listening to The Daily Show.
The Daily Show?
The Daily Show.
The Daily Show.
On Men's Radio.
Men's Radio.
Men's Radio.
Men's Radio.
With Russ Kane.
And the fabulous Liz Saul. He's joined the internet, realized he was going to do that, but they realized with all the diversity, they'd never had anyone from the Tolworth area of London, and they realized he should really join the team. Hello, everybody. Hope you're well.
Hello.
I'm Russ Kane. This is The Daily Show. This is Men's Radio Station. And my compadre, my chum, Liz Saul. How are you, Liz?
I'm good, thank you, Russ. How are you?
Do you love this lag? I go, how are you, Liz? You could then drive a horse and cart through the gap, and then
Horse
Liz
and cart,
goes back
yes,
and go,
it does feel like we're
just
somewhat in the 19th century.
awful. It's just absolutely garbage. What we got? Afternoon to you, Barry J. Allen, as well. So all good in the world of Saul.
Yes, indeed. And I have news for you that don't worry, Neil is alive and well, although somebody has dressed him up. Look at this.
Okay.
Hang on, where are we?
Okay.
There we go. No, it's not going to play.
We can't see anything.
There
Just
we
see a
go.
brick wall. You got to hold it back. No. Back. Seriously, back. Oh my God. Who the hell's that? What the hell is that? The name's Long. Neil Long. Licensed. Hello.
He's been to a pub
well, this is
too.
interesting. What have we got? Martin Allen. Hello. He looks lovely. Hello, my darlings.
Hello, my
And
darlings.
This is
Hello
interesting.
back.
Apparently, and,
Neil's hair
I
does
know
get
that
very
my
long and
co-directors will
unruly.
be fascinated by this if it ever bothers to come up. 92,000 listeners apparently on Deluxe Radio. We'd love to see those figures, David Wimble. We would love to see them. Right now, time to bring on our guest. This was a chap who was with us. You don't know him, Liz, but I've met him about 300,000 times. He had, back in the very early days of Men's Radio Station, he had a series. He had a series with us that was good. It was called Man Whisperer. Welcome,
Good
Kenny.
to see you again,
Hi,
Russ.
Kenny. How are you?
Hello,
Very
Kenny.
well. Good to meet you. How you
Well,
doing,
it's been a
Liz?
while, fella.
It has. We've had
It's been
lockdown.
years.
We've had all sorts
Years
of
and
things
years.
coming up.
Oh my
It's been
God!
a
Yeah, we had
lifetime.
lockdown.
Yes,
It's
and
been
the
a
world
very, very long
changed.
time. How are you doing? Because Liz knows nothing about you. So tell, and many of our audience are new from all over the world. Lanzarote, New York City, Northeastern United States, Spain,
Wow.
France, everywhere.
Tolworth,
So
apparently.
tell us all about
Tolworth,
yourself.
even. That's near. That's
The
very
Tolworth Tower, yeah,
diverse.
near the Tolworth Tower.
Well, do you know,
It's
one of the biggest things that's happened is the day that we went on lockdown. I started with daily online men check-in groups, and they've been going every day since lockdown
Wow.
to this day. And people have come in from all over the world. If there are a lot of people in the room, we have breakout rooms. I've trained over 100 facilitators, and it has been not only life-saving and marriage-saving, it's been life-changing for so many people to belong with other people, be able to check in and stay sane and learn and grow and tell the truth and hang out and have a laugh. What a relief.
And that's brilliant. That's a good thing, because one of the things we're always advocating is the importance of talking to each other, whether you're man, woman, unsure, neutral, fluid, talking is important.
Yeah. My wife
Yeah,
usually
Let's not get into
whispers things
fluid.
in my
Let's
ear.
not get into fluid.
You're as bad as Graham,
yeah.
Russ. Honestly, you boys.
Just as bloody. It's
I
just
feel like
called
I've come
being
here to
greedy.
keep everyone under control, Kenny. I don't know about you.
No, I'm not going to be. I'm not going to be muzzled on my own radio station. if I can very much.
Exactly.
Not after all the
It's
work that
playtime.
Howard, Penny, and I have put in. Screw that. You're just not. It ain't happening. It ain't happening.
I remember
Now-
doing that brilliant show with you with your book. Do you remember that? When you launched your book, Ross.
Oh, bless you. That's very kind. Yeah, yeah. It's been
That was
it's been
great.
so long, Key, but I watch your exploits. Oh, bless you. You'd always be welcome back. I watch your exploits with great interest. Right, radio station now 5 years ago. Yeah, was that men don't talk, and I'm delighted to say that 50% of the audience on men's radio are women from all over the world, which is fantastic. That's how it should be, as a bonus. How important, I mean, you're an expert in this, and I'm a plucking amateur, and Liz provides the sanity. How important is
Apparently.
talking and reaching out?
To me, it's life-changingly important. But I would say the big thing, I launched an animation on International Men's Day, 10 days ago or something. And the, what do they call it? Hashtag strapline thing is man up and talk about it. And for me, when people talk, it breaks the spell of fearing, fantasizing, fixing, and going bonkers. And for me, one of the most worrying things these days is men and boys, rather than speaking to each other, will either go into their heads or they'll go on the internet, and stuff from, I don't know, porn, YouTube, and Andrew Tate may not be the wisdom necessary to walk a conscious path as a man. So to be speaking with other men and learning from other people's experiences, the old-fashioned human connected way, is worth its weight in gold. And the number of suicidal men who've come in and known that they're amongst other men who may have been suicidal, and that it passes to an extent. Because I know when I overthink, I'm avoiding emotion and I'm trying to fix things. And the bottom line for me is I want to control everything. And then I realized that if I can't control everything, then I can remove myself from the situation. And if that's the bottom line of my thinking, I need to stop thinking and start talking and get real. Do you know what I mean?
And it's okay not to have all the answers as well. Nobody does. So in the
please,
overthinking, you just get yourself into a rut of it. And that's no good either.
And that's a very male thing, I find, is a lot of males think, I need to fix this. I need to have an answer. And when I've fixed it and I have an answer, then everything's going to be okay. But then the protector keeps finding things to fix and staying in a broken place, where it was huge for me to learn to say, I don't know. What a relief. It's
allowed.
Yeah. And then for everyone else to say, I don't know.
It is allowed.
And it's so necessary. But for other men
there
to
is
say,
a great strength. There's a great strength, isn't there, Kenny? That people think they can't say, I don't know. And you don't have to say it in an offhand, like, I don't give a shit way. It's like, I don't know. Yeah. So it's so much better to do that. And it's more honest to say, I don't know, but I tell you what, I won't make some, off the cuff genius interpretation. Let me go away and think about it, or let me go away and research it. But you can't be the do all and the catch all for everybody. It is all right to just say, hey, I don't know. I don't have the answer to that. It's not a sign. One of the things I'd have to ask you, Kenny, is it's not a sign of weakness, is it?
Quite the opposite. To be in a place of honesty rather than performance, for me, makes space for other men to say, and this is where I failed, and this is where I succeeded, or I don't know, but I can sit with you in your confusion or pain. Let's just be together with this rather than fix it. And for me, the fix comes from feeling and healing.
Yes. And that's it. And it goes back to you're not supposed to know everything. I grew up that, with the men that are in my life and growing up is that they didn't know everything, but that was okay. But they could still be that reassurance. They could still be that safe person, that safe space, because you find out together. Surely life is about learning. It doesn't matter how old you are. You're always finding out something new.
What's really important to me about what you said is, for me, what you're describing as a presence, solid, a rock, not necessarily finding answers, but sitting with.
Yes.
It doesn't matter we're here. You're safe. I'm listening. Let's be with this. And slowing things down to be with, rather than speeding things up to do and fix and panic.
Yes. And this is it. And you might end up just doing something really silly. Like my dad and I, sometimes we'll just sit and watch TV, and then he'll say something funny, and nobody else might find it funny, but I'll find myself giggling away. And then we might just spend the next 10 minutes just giggling. And then because, if you laugh too much, certain other things happen if you're a person of a certain age, I suppose, that's a polite way of putting it. And then that makes us laugh.
I just caught up with what you're saying.
And it's just brilliant. And actually, Neil could be quite prudish about certain bodily functions, and he's sort of sitting there like, and I'm like, for goodness sake, it's hilarious.
But
sometimes that's all you
Neil
need, though.
prudish.
Slightly serious. That's the point.
Wow.
That sometimes it's just nice to have a giggle at nothing and just be in the company of that person and be able to relax. You don't need all the answers.
That's being together. Being together is intimate. It's this is us. Yeah. This is us being. It's sacred. It's where memories come from. It's safe silence. It's not having to do. Find something to fix or be busy.
There's so much to unpack here. Let's just try and break it down a little bit. First of all, reaching out is so important. I curse and I bless social media in equal measure, which sounds weird, but I mean, X or Twitter is a cesspit, but I only use it for business. Really, I won't engage. There is no point. You're dealing with lunatics, so I might as well talk to my atomic clock on my desk and get the same result. It's bullshit. It's not going to change. But Facebook can be nice. They're not your real friends, but it creates a community, and we've created a community here on the Daily Show and Men's Radio. That's the whole point. It's like a family. But explain, Kenny, if you think someone's, I'm not even going to say in trouble, I'm going to say struggling. And I think everybody is struggling now. Everybody, almost without exception. When somebody says, no, Kenny, I'm fine. How do you, as an expert, go back to them and say, and without being, I'm just going to use blunt language, without being an absolute pain in the arse, like, oh, Jesus, it's Kenny on the phone again. What? How do you break through that all-important, I know you're not okay, but I want you to know I'm here? How do you do that?
Do you know, it depends on where it is. If it's online in a group, it's quite easy for us all to just slow down, take a deep breath. In the check-in groups, there are 3 questions. Your name, so you take your space and introduce yourself. How you feel right now. That's feelings, and that's present. And the third one is anything that's up. And it's as simple as that on a group. And sometimes the second question can stump people. It's like, well, yesterday I was like this, or this is what I thought. It's not feeling, and it's not right now. Where if it's on the phone, then if I hear fine, I don't know how rude I can be on the show. If I
you can be as rude as you like. What you like. It's uncensored. It's absolutely uncensored. As long as we don't slander or libel anybody.
No.
Say what the
I'll
hell
play
you like.
clean with that one. But if it's someone I know and it's on the phone, I go fine. So that's fucked up, insecure. What's the end? Neurotic and emotionally unavailable. So what's going on then?
Oh, that's really good. I
And
love that. So fine is an anagram of effed up. I'll be polite for once.
Uh-huh.
Uh, oh, hang on, David. I'm not going to be censored. Sorry, David Wimble. We're not going to be censored. I beg your pardon, but we're just not. This is what we do on Men's Radio. I can't worry about other stuff. I'm not being rude to you, David, in any way, but I won't be censored, and neither can our guests, because they're under our aegis, nobody else's. So fine stands for effed up,
insecure, neurotic, and emotionally unavailable.
But how do you go back?
And saying it out loud is funny in itself.
Yeah, exactly. It breaks the spell on the thinking.
Mm.
And for me, that's what it's all about. Break the spell and be present. Be here with me right now. And when, for example, we've had people come in online in the group saying, I've been having suicidal thoughts, then very often with the facilitators in the room, the first question would be, who else here has had suicidal thoughts? And people will raise their hands. And one of the most important things for men that men have said they realize is, whatever I have brought here, I thought I was alone.
That's it. That's it. This is the most important message. And I don't know how many times Liz and I do it, Neil and I do it, and Phil David, we all try. You are not alone. And the worst thing about being depressed or being in a lousy place or just feeling blue, right? I'm talking about clinically depressed, is you're not alone. There are millions of people. But of course, the double curse is that when you're in that state, you can't see the wood for the trees. You think, no, nobody else will understand. The opposite is true. They will absolutely understand.
When I've been
and there is always a support network. It depends. You might think, oh, well, I don't have family, or I've got very few friends. But there is a support network, whether you come and listen to us here on Men's Radio Station, or whether you look for groups like yours, as you say, Kenny. There is always something out there. And it doesn't always need an NHS referral either. Very often people get wound up and bogged down in the red tape of the system as well. It doesn't have to be that complicated.
And going back to what you were saying earlier, Russ, about social media, I feel the same.
Yeah.
There's so much to love and there's so much to hate.
Yeah.
And I would say one of the things that I find very upsetting about social media is the way people can feel so bad about themselves.
Yeah.
And for me, very often it's, I will show you how wonderful my life is, because then you like me and I'll be good enough to hang out with.
Yeah.
Where
and
for me, it's right here and right now.
This is it.
Hang out.
This is it. This is who I am. Like it, don't like it, I don't care. I'm not, this whole nonsense, and we could talk about the psychology of it forever, but, because it's a real bee in my bonnet. But this whole, I'm showing you my best life, I'm having a fan, look at me, aren't I great? No, I'm not. Anyone can
and that's
any
not
fool
realistic
can
either,
do that.
because then you pressure yourself into,
it's
I've got to show people that this is going on and that's going on, and look at my dog and look at me. And
I like looking at dogs. No, that's nice. I love that. I love that, looking at pictures of dogs. I mean, I go on Twitter because I'll have a book coming out in the next 12 months, I'm in touch with fantastic authors, and it's a wonderful support group. I mean, huge authors, people you've never heard of, and it's a wonderful supportive community. It's amazing. Unlike like the music industry or something, this is, I can't tell you how supportive it is. Some of the huge names have been so kind to me, and I won't ever forget it. But there was all the things that you're swimming through sewers, really. And then suddenly there was this little kid. He's 5 years old, right? I don't know him. It's just come up on Twitter. He's 5 years old. He's had open heart surgery and God knows what else. He's not very well, putting it mildly, right? And he'd practice for his Christmas concert at his little school,
No.
and he was too ill. He got something else, and he was too ill to do it. I mean, he got a cold. Well, it wasn't anything dramatic this time. And I went, "Oh, come on, little girl. Come on." I didn't know him. I don't know his parents. I said, "Come on, little dude. Just do it. I'm sure everybody would love to see you just perform." And today, this little kid stands in front of the Christmas tree at home because he's still coming back to school, and he does his little song. And
Wow.
thousands of people went, "Oh, isn't it just?"
Wow.
You see, that's just adorable. That's just lovely. And I think you can be supportive. This little kid is feeling really miserable and fed up. He's worked his little socks off. And now thousands of people saying, "Yay, that was just sweet."
And that's a very
beauty
honest
of it.
and lovely thing.
Yeah, it's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it. But, denying things which are, I can't get into it. I can't, because it's made me ill. It's actually really made me ill, and I have to fight it. But you're not alone. And that is the thing. Just reach out. And why is it, Kenny, wearing your expert hat, we don't pick up the phone anymore? Everything's a WhatsApp. You okay? Yeah, fine. Okay. That's not really that's kind of not reaching out, is it?
Yeah.
That's like leaving a note for the milkman. It's like what? Like your brother?
It sounded like my brother when we were growing up and a lot younger. It's like, and he would answer the phone, and one of my aunts said to me, "Why don't you tell Jake to speak properly?" I was like, "There's nothing wrong with how he speaks." "Well, he answers the phone and he grunts." It's like, "Well, he's a teenage boy. What do you expect?"
Oh well, you're lucky he answers the phone.
I don't think you had a choice in our household. Like,
Oh, right.
You will answer the phone.
You will answer that. You will answer that. But we don't do it, Kenny, do we? Not enough.
I feel we're back to the old overthinking addiction of, am I going to be bothering someone? Do they want to hear from me? Since lockdown, I would say so many people have got used to isolation, not really known how to reach out and be connected with other people, fear bothering them, fear being a pain, fear all sorts of things. It's the old overthinking addiction again, where it is about,
I agree.
It's reach
but there's
out
a new
and connect.
kind of etiquette as well.
There is.
For example, it's very nice for my point of view. I work all sorts of crazy hours. So people, even my closest friends, they don't know when I'm working or if I'm able to answer the phone. But they'll drop me a text or a WhatsApp message or a messenger or something. And it might even be a voice note. So they've gone to the trouble of actually speaking and saying something. But just checking in. How are you? Don't know if you're working. And I think, oh, well, that's nice. And I can either message them back. Yes, I'm working. It's quite busy. But you still feel like you're connected with people, you're in touch with them, or you might make arrangements. And what's nice is that myself and some of my closest friends, we try and once a week do a video call and a group one at that.
Oh, that's nice.
So that, it's like, oh, what about Tuesday night? Oh, well, I'm taking so-and-so to football, but we'll be back about 8. Okay, we'll do it then, And you do make that effort because you don't have to go anywhere. Things are very expensive at the moment. But you can get yourself a glass of something, sit on your sofa and do a video call. It sounds a bit, and that came about in lockdown that you had to do it like that. But
it really works. Yeah.
Kenny, Kenny, when did we all get so busy?
For me,
when
it's
did
computers.
that happen?
I've got a big shameful thing to say about this, and I totally agree with what you're saying, Liz, but for me, computers, inboxes, and people who I love have become enemies as soon as they're in my inbox because I need to get on top of my admin. So they're no longer someone I love.
Kind of with you.
They're the enemy because they're in my inbox. Like I'm trying to have, I want my inbox is empty, so I'm allowed to have my life back. It's like I'm not allowed to play until I've done my homework.
Isn't that you overthinking again? So I don't worry about
trying to stay on top
in my inbox.
It's impossible.
It's staying on top.
Kenny, I can't, because people now, instead of like the old days, to pick up the phone like a normal person, right? So you get messaged on Facebook. I'm not always on Facebook. I've actually, I've got to finish the book by next week, right?
Wow.
That's it's got to be done. There's no ifs or buts. It's a drop dead date, right? So that's got to happen. So they message me on Facebook. Then it's if I don't answer that, but on Facebook, this is where it is. I get messages you didn't like when I replied to you, didn't like it. Well,
Oh my
it's nothing
God.
personal. I'm zipping through hundreds of messages, and I try to like as a courtesy. You've taken the time and trouble to come back, so I press the like button. But if I miss it, it's just because I've missed it. There's no subtext. There's no subtext to it. Freud doesn't have to do a 20-minute speech about it. It's just I missed it. The end. Then they message you on WhatsApp. Okay, that's kind of all right. Then they send you text. I don't answer voicemails because they drive me insane. It's like, God, how many different things do I have to have open on my desk to try and keep? I can't do it. I can't do it. I feel the pressure. And Kenny, am I feeling the pressure? Is the pressure being put on me? I got to ask Kenny this question, and then I want to ask you the same question.
Exactly the same.
Am I putting the pressure on myself, Kenny? Because I don't know the answer to this. I'm asking you. You're the expert. Am I putting the pressure on myself? Are they putting the pressure on me inadvertently? Or should I just say the hell with it and just get on with what I'm doing?
For me, this is an issue about boundaries. Rather than coming from, I will be emotionally responsible for you, in which case I will respond and like everything so you don't feel bad. That's very am I. That's I will give the power out and you will tell me that I'm safe because I've performed well by staying on top. Where I am is, these are my boundaries. This is how I communicate. You can like it or lump it with love, because this is how I operate. So I can't and I won't take on the guilt to stay on top in that way. But when I'm engaged with someone, and this is very male, when someone is in front of me, then I can love you because you are here in front of me and this is where I engage. But if I'm in front of you and I'm thinking about inboxes or something, then I'm not even here. And when I'm when I'm emptying my inbox, it's like, it's admin, because there's so much.
It is admin. That's it.
Relentless.
It's admin.
Yeah.
It's like filling
That's
tax
not
return
love.
and VAT return. It's no different.
Yeah, I think you're both back in overthinking fixer mode. And if you just each of you took a step back and thought, do you know what? Nobody's going to die if I don't answer that message right this second.
I won't. And you know, before inboxes, the game changer for me was I announced to my friends and family that if I'm not told something, it doesn't exist. Where before, the issue was second guessing and hints that should be picked up and referring to things and hoping. And it's like, I can't play those games.
Oh,
so
no, I
either you tell me it
exists.
exists. Exactly. So it's in front of me in black and white. Yeah, exactly. And I don't want to think anything. I want to be intimately engaged. That's
Overthinking is an absolute curse, and I am horribly guilty of it. I have tried my darndest not to overthink, and I can't help it. I don't want to do it. It drives me mad. It takes up far too much of my time. It diverts me from things that I really need to be doing urgently, that are time sensitive, and I'm overthinking stuff. And it's never normally as bad as I think it's going to. Kenny's frozen for some reason. And it's never really as bad as I always think it's going to. I have a stupid example yesterday, Liz. Right?
Yes.
Can you hear me? You can hear me. Right. This is I bought a friend of mine I've known for many, many years, a very, very talented man called David Mindel, written fabulous tunes and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of advertising jingle. I mean, he's a very famous guy.
Yes.
And he's lived in France now for, I don't know, 25 years or so. Excellent idea. And I went to see it. I'd forgotten. I bought tickets. He said, I'm coming over to England. We're going to put on a show with Glenn Campbell's daughter and this, that, and the other. Love you. I said, okay, I bought tickets that day. I'd forgot. And of course, being me, I forgot I'd bought the tickets. I'd bought them in June. Thank God the venue, Pizza Express Holborn, which is a great venue for live events.
Yes, I've been.
Sent me an email saying, "Oh, don't forget." I thought, "Oh, geez, wow!" So I went along, and David saw me before the show. He says, "Could you do me a favor?" I said, "Yeah, sure, anything." He said, "I want you to heckle." Now, if people, I said, "Well, I want you to heckle. This is what I want you to heckle because it leads on to something that I can say." people who know me well, if I'm not doing like my show or radio, I am actually very quiet and shy. I'm not that, but when if I'm in the audience, I'm exceptionally quiet. I'm exceptionally quiet. The idea
Really?
of having to heckle was a nightmare. So I didn't. So I spent so much of this amazing show thinking, I'm going to have upset David. David's going to have asked me something. And I didn't do it because the show was flowing so beautifully. I thought it would be an interruption and look rude. And I wasn't going to pull focus from these genius musicians and singers. They were incredible. So I didn't. And then I saw him afterwards. Of course, he didn't mention it. He just thanked me a million times for turning up, which I was happy to do. But in my head, I mean, this is the lunacy, isn't it? I'm thinking he's going to be upset. I've let him down. I've let my pal down. Of course, I hadn't. The show it was a huge hit for him. Ah, man, and I'm thinking that is so typical. That is so stupid. I love this from Julie Voice. She goes, "Overthinking, my special gift." What does Kimmy say? Kimmy in Tenerife? I allow
myself a moment to overthink, and then I get on with other things. That's a good mantra to me.
I wish to God I could do that. That would be blooming marvelous. I hope Kenny comes back to join us.
By and large, I'm not too bad at that. And actually, it was interesting what Kenny was saying just before about. I think he's still having tech issues, but he was saying about boundaries, and I think that's very important as well. And if I may quote our illustrious good friend Neil, that he's mentioned on the show before about putting in boundaries to help his own mental health. And that's
but he didn't.
I mean, look after yourself first.
Yeah, I'm not speaking behind his back because he's been very, very vocal about it. He didn't put in boundaries, and it had a terrible effect on him at a time when I'd lost, frankly, I'm not trying to big myself up. I'd lost touch with him. I didn't know any of this. So it was very honest of him to say, now I put the boundaries in, I feel so much better. Boundaries are really, really, really important. The word no is tiny little word, 2 letters, and fantastically empowering. Do you want to do this? No, I don't. Why? I don't have to give a reason. The answer is no. You don't always have to. That's the other thing. I mean, I think I better think of an excuse. No, just say, I don't want to do it. No. Do you want to go to something? No, I don't. Why? I just don't. But just accept it as a no. Don't have to do the whole, 3-ring circus.
And the reason why people need an excuse, if you like, is because it's their own self-verification, And whereas you in your head,
explain what that means.
I just don't feel like it. It's got nothing to do with the other person, but the other person needs to feel validated for their own self-worth. And there's you just thinking, do you know what? I just want to sit at home. I don't want to go anywhere,
See, somebody has kindly invited me to an event later this week. I won't know anybody else there. It's very sweet of them to ask me. I really like that. But I won't know anybody else there. Am I going to have a good time? Well, no, because that's to be honest, I'm being really open here. It's my idea of hell to go into a whole... That's a good time to phone.
Do they not know you're on air?
Actually, my doctor's to fix something else that's wrong. Graham Pack says this. The problem is I never think before saying things. That surprises me, Graham, because you're obviously a highly intelligent person. No, I don't think he's being. I don't think he's joking.
Point further along, and he says about. Hang on, where's that message disappeared?
Where?
So he said, I'm a chartered surveyor. Boundary disputes are the bane of our profession.
Oh, that's very good. Yeah, boundary. I get that. I've got to take this call. I'm sorry. You're going to carry the show because it's my...
Sure, no problem. It'll be very quick. Hopefully he'll be back in a second. But do you know what? We said, you perhaps saying it slightly tongue-in-cheek, Graham, as a chartered surveyor. But there is a point. It's in life. We have boundaries and it's okay to have some boundaries. Neil, who we mentioned, he said he had to put boundaries in for his own mental health, for his own self-esteem, for his own... everything, his own sanity, in order to deal with the things that he had to deal with in his life. He was having mental health issues. His mum was very ill and then she died. So all these various things that we all have. My mum was very ill She was having cancer treatment during lockdown, but then it stopped and then she died. There's a whole lot to unpack there, which I won't go into. But, you then stop and think, right, I've got to focus. What do I need to do? My focus was on my mum, and then my focus was on then sorting things out for her. My focus now is still getting, some sort of closure in a sense. You've got the COVID inquiry going on, but you set those boundaries of, right, these are the things that I need to focus on. And it doesn't make you a bad person or a bad friend. You're just trying to work your way through things. And we're talking about the word no. It is okay to say no. Julie's saying, I'm trying to learn the word no, and it's not easy. Well, it's not very easy, but equally, it could give you so much peace of mind. If you're not rushing around, you could just take 5 and say, no, I can't do that. And just give yourself a break. Sit down with a cup of tea, if nothing else, for 5 minutes. Hello, Russ.
Yeah, hello. Sorry. Well done, NHS. That's what I say. Marvelous. they want to, obviously, they're not happy because they want to see me immediately. This isn't good. Anyway, Julie Voice says, I'm just trying to learn the word no. It's not easy. Damn right. And then Kerry Stoneman, hi, Kerry, says, no is such a small word, but very hard to say. Is it hard to say because we think we're going to upset people? Zama, I have no idea what the hell that is.
Don't you remember Grange Hill?
I never watched
out a record.
I never I never watched one episode. I have no idea.
Oh, I see. Well, they brought out a record off the back of it. It was to do with saying no to drugs, and the record was called "Just Say No."
That's good. I hope it had some effect. Although one wonders. The whole thing about saying no. I wish Kenny would come back. But the whole thing about saying no. Do you think you're being a horrible human being by saying no? Do you think you're going to upset the person? Do they have the right to be upset? For example, one of the boundaries I put in, this sounds so pathetic, I know, but 20 years of being the flying eye in the public eye at Capital Radio and everything, I had to attend virtually every charity event in the world.
Yeah.
And, I'm like with any event, unless it's a movie or theatre, I want to go after 20 minutes. I've really had enough. Charming as it is, lovely as it is, I want to go. Unless it's a musical event or theatre or a movie, I want to go. If it's a wedding, an engagement party, whatever, I just want to go. Thank you. It's been lovely. I want to go home. That's who I am. So sorry. And I just wonder, just saying no is like, do you think you're offending people? But they don't really have the right to. I mean, I get invited to all these charity things, and I always now say no. Don't say I won't give to charity. I don't want to spend an evening eating rubber chicken and making polite conversation anymore. Even my best friend, I've said to him, I'll donate to your cause, my pal Lloyd, but I'm not attending the events anymore. I just won't do it. I can't. I've had years, 30, 40 years of it. I don't want to do it anymore. Enough. Time is too precious. And maybe some people get offended, but I can't worry about. And I wish I could extend not worrying about it to other areas of life.
This is it. It's getting the message out there that it's not a slight on the person doing the asking. It's you for your own sanity, your own mental health, that you need to say no to certain things. There's I don't know about you, but we've had quite a few people at the door, charity people at the door. Oh, we're collecting for this, that, and the other. And I never give at the door to charity. I have no bones about saying, no, I'm sorry, I give to charity, but not on my doorstep. You could be anybody. You could have just wandered along with the best will in the world. I don't know who you are. And I do give to charity, but I do it through official channels. And sometimes I get involved. I work for the BBC, so we get involved with children in need, for example, it's just been and going on. And that's very entertaining. But, I don't worry about saying no to people. If I can't do it, or if I don't feel I'm going to give my all, or if, do you know what, I can't afford it and I'm just going to sit in with a cup of tea or a glass of wine, It's allowed.
It's moral blackmail. It's blackmail, really. It's moral blackmail. Is what it is. It's actually moral blackmail. And I think any charity.
I don't know. I suppose it could be in one sense. It depends on the person. I think it goes back to something I was alluding to earlier. That some people their insecurities mean they just need that validation. Oh, I need to see you. Oh, please come out. Oh, please do this. And it's nothing at all to do with you. It's just that they're feeling very needy for whatever reason. Now, even if you don't want to go out and meet up with them, you could then, okay, it's not ideal, but then exchange message. I'm sorry, I can't do it. But, you know, just checking in. Is everything all right? There might be an underlying reason why they're, you know, I need to see you. I need this. So you're still checking in with them, but you're keeping your own sanity as well.
But that's okay. It's Neil is always, you know, does the phrase which I really like. You can't give from an empty cup.
Yes.
And that's a Neil Long phrase, and I like that phrase a lot. You know what? I'm sitting here thinking, because I contacted the doctors this morning, and the fact that they're phoned and want to see me immediately, I'm sitting here thinking,
do you know what? Don't knock it.
God. Oh God. Oh God.
Oh no, I'd be relieved, because the amount of times my dad was in hospital a couple of months ago, and the joy we had with that, which I won't go into, but at least things are sorted now. Yeah, well, I cannot get off the horse right now. I have got to finish this. I've got to finish this book. It's got to be the reason why, by the way, is that the next season for going to see all the publishers starts sort of January, goes through to February and March, and if you miss that season, you are screwed. And so the book has to be completed. That's all there is. You know, I've put too much time and effort into it, and I'm enjoying it. I'm loving the process of. Well, I can't wait to read. Kind of all I think about really is plot lines and making it even more devilish. On a slightly lighter note, Graham says, saying no to a wife of 39 years or to a cute 2-year-old granddaughter is not easy. I think the word you're looking for there, Grandpack, is impossible. Impossible, absolutely. And Kimmy Lashmar has said this. Sorry if you've read it. I think that when you're a child, you're not always allowed to say no for many obvious reasons, but it's necessary when you get older. Yes. Yeah. And that's true. And I totally appreciate that. I'd agree with that, Kimmy, because as a child, actually, you're still very much learning the basics. No, don't walk out in the road without looking, because something might happen. Or no, don't jump in the river without thinking. These things are not very sensible, and you don't want to have to learn those things by example. So I've gone cold, actually. I got yes, exactly. Those kind of things. You just take your word for it. So yeah. It's it's horrible. It's horrible. I can never understand. I hardly drive now. I go over by tube and bus because it's just much quicker. I'm not giving. Yeah, you seem to clear the carriages very quickly. Well, I do. Yes, it's a knack. I can't even tell you how I do it. But I'm not giving Mayor Khan, 15 quid for the benefit of driving into my own city. So well, no, screw that. But you'd always see people, women with buggies and prams on the pavement, and they push the pram on the buggy halfway out on the road. So they're on the pavement, they're fine, but the baby in the buggy is like actually on the road. And you're thinking, in the road, what the name of God are you doing? Keep the whole thing on the pavement, you idiot, and then cross the road when it's safe. Then have a look. Jeez. Or reverse out into the road yourself. You go first and bring the buggy after. And bring the I know. It's just absolute craziness. Yesterday this music thing. I don't like big concerts because it sounds silly. I mean, the only thing I would have gone to if I was incredibly wealthy, I would have flown to New York to see the final show of Kiss after 50 years. I would have gone to Madison Square Garden. Although they're not ending there, they said they made this announcement. They're going to be holograms. Yes, that's what they're going to do, which is an excellent idea. And I wish Ace and Peter would just stop moaning, particularly Ace. Come on, they gave you so many chances, Ace. Had to get twice it didn't work. How many times are you gonna? Anyway, neither here nor there. But 50 years. I mean, it's an amazing achievement. But if you're at the back or anywhere, you're watching the screens anyway, so you might as well be at home and just watch the screens. But I like small, intimate venues. I think that's lovely. And to see real musicianship was so life affirming.
so life. It was just, especially there's a backing singer. If you're a muso, and I am not a muso, I have nothing deliberately to do with the music industry because it destroyed me. But if you're a muso, there is a backing singer called Tessa Niles, who many of you will have heard of. And Tessa Niles has sung, when I say with everybody, Live Aid, she sang with Bowie. She's doing all the backing vocals and duets on Simply the Best on the Tina Turner song, for example. That's the level of Tessa Niles. And she said yesterday, you know, until you've been in a studio with Tina Turner standing right next to you and you're both singing into the mic, she said it was like, you know, and she's so modest. But you listen to these people, they're incredible. Their musicianship is wonderful. It was so uplifting because they're modest and yet they're so talented. They're so approachable, and yet in their field, they're, you know, the absolute top of their game. And it's a wonderful metaphor. It's a wonderful metaphor.
And it's wonderful to watch as well. I've seen Level 42 in concert quite a few times, and the guitar work from Mark King. Oh, it's just bass, so impressive. And I've met him a few times as well. You know, they're really, the whole band, they're just so down to earth. They're still based on the Isle of Wight, pretty much.
Haven't gone far, have they?
You know, Mike Lindrup as well. He's done some solo stuff. He's just so lovely. They all are. And it's been great to meet them. And then yet to see them up on stage, I could only dream of playing the guitar like that. I have a guitar. I can play green sleeves very slowly.
That's not going to fill out a show, is it?
Well, no.
I hate to break the news to you.
Get someone else to play the guitar.
Here's the thing. Graham Pack says, and I agree with this, and I want to make a point and see what you think, Liz. I always prefer to go to small comedy venues. Absolutely, Graham, with you. And not the big... I don't want to go to a big arena. What's the point? I don't want to sit with 20,000 people listening to a gag. I like the intimacy. You lose the atmosphere in a big arena, says Graham. I agree.
Yeah.
Do you think it's because it creates a sense of community?
I think there's a sort of camaraderie, particularly with comedy. And obviously Neil, he's on the comedy circuit again after a bit of a hiatus. We came and watched you do your stand-up show, which was marvellous. But it wasn't a massive venue. There were, a couple of hundred people there. It was brilliant. Yeah. And there was that intimacy, but also, as I say, that camaraderie. You feel like you're all in on the joke or you're all part of it. Yeah. And it gives you a warm feeling inside, which is lovely. You go around the comedy circuit, very often it'll be in a function room of a pub, or it'll be, you know, just next to somebody. It won't be in a massive arena. And actually, I've seen a comedy in a big arena, and you're right, you lose something by it. Very well-known comedians, they'll do very often pre-tours where they're trying out new stuff.
That's why I saw Ricky Gervais. Ricky Gervais, who did Hollywood Bowl. I think he's doing Madison Square, but he's filled out the Hollywood Bowl with his new tour, Armageddon. And a pal of mine said, "Oh, do you want to go?" Oh, what? And went along to a really intimate venue when he was just doing his stuff. That was fabulous. That was fantastic. I don't want to sit in a huge arena. And it was very... Welcome back, Kenny. You've solved your tech issues, I hope.
Oh,
yes,
that was hell.
In and out, bless you.
That was horrible, so frustrating. But what we're going
to do is in the new year, should I still be around? That's a phone call.
Oh, I'm sure you will be.
Well, let's hope so. In the new year, we'll get you back properly and you'll have your text sorted. So you were about to say, one thing you heard was...
One thing I heard you say was you talked about the venue in Holborn, Pizza Express.
Yeah.
I was there, was it 2 nights ago, to see Kiki D. And going back to Men and Mental Health, I've been in love with Kiki D since 1976, since Don't Go Breaking My Heart. And I knew that at some stage it was destined that she'd fall in love with me. And our paths kept crossing. And the first time I met her, I was a schoolboy in Fishguard, small town that I was brought up in Wales, sent a letter to Radio 1, Studio B15, saying, bring her on the show. And in those days, we didn't even have a telephone. So they sent a telegram saying, come into the studio. We'll pay for everything. You interview her.
Oh,
Wow.
And Star was in the charts in those days. So what was that, 83 or something?
Probably.
There's an embarrassing story here, I'm afraid. So
We
it
like
was,
those.
it was wonderful. We had a great chat live on Radio 1. Little boy from a small town that doesn't even have a zebra crossing. And at the end of it, it's like, it was dead. This is Broadcasting House near Oxford Circus. It was dead. And I was lost. And I was going round and round with my albums in a bag, all signed by Kiki D, the love of my life. This is the embarrassing bit. I was desperate to go to the loo. I was desperate. And I didn't know how to get home, and I couldn't think straight. So I ended up, and I was, 12 years? I was in my teens, maybe 16, something or other. I ended up peeing in a phone box, thinking, if the police catch me, at least they'll be able to take me home. I was that scared and desperate. And the weird thing
logic,
now,
though, in your desperation.
I had no choice. It's like, okay, I'm going to get arrested, but they'll save me. And now my office, my therapy room, is on Mortimer Street, and I'm quite sure it's the corner of the phone box that I peed in. How many decades ago?
But there should be a blue plaque. Kenny Mammarella-D'Cruz peed here in 1980. That'd be great.
And do you know what? I work in that office now sometimes.
Do you?
Broadcasting House, yes.
I love it there. Happy memories. I've done interviews and stuff, BBC stuff there. But Kiki D saved my life. Because I remember having my mental health issues. I had obsessive compulsive disorder, Tourette's, and various body dysmorphia and various other things. As a result of my PTSD. Listening to Kiki D over and over on my cassette tape, she did Sight and Sound in concert. And listening to that over and over literally saved my life when I was on my knees as a child. And the two things, you were talking about comedy, the two things, apart from basically reaching out to speaking to someone, listen to music. It brings the life back in my soul when I'm on my knees. It works.
Yes.
And comedy, may as well laugh, get things in perspective. But Kiki, I've been in love with her forever. I remember once she came up to me because, as I say, our paths crossed in, what was it, Clifton
You were
Hill.
a stalker, basically, Kenny. What
Pretty
you're saying
much,
is you were a
pretty
professional
much.
stalker. Oh, my God, I knew it. I knew it.
What a wonderful life.
You say about music, that's very interesting. After my mum died, there was some music I couldn't listen to for ages. And it wasn't necessarily because they were songs that she liked, although that was a part of it. But it was that I felt that I had been quite good at meditating, and I stepped away from it for a couple of years or more because I just couldn't get into the right mindset for it while I was grieving. And so consequently, the songs that I would use when I was meditating, I couldn't listen to. And one day I just had a breakthrough, and it was just nothing at all. Neil was playing some music and had some friends over, and we were all just sitting and chilling. And he said, I'll play this Savage Garden song for you, not knowing it was one of my meditation songs. And I thought, actually, I'll just relax into it and see how I go. And he said the look on my face was astonishing. It just sort of disappeared.
Do you know what I can't get over on that story? What I can't get over, Neil has friends.
Now, don't be rude.
Oh, I can. It's the other side of the world. I can say what I like.
Yes, they do have technology.
Here's the thing about getting... He's in Tolworth. He's got to find me first. Here's the thing about being triggered. So last night at this musical thing, and I can't call it a concert. It was just like a very casual. It's lovely.
Jamming session.
No, it was a bit more than that.
Okay.
It was more than that. And Ashley Campbell is the daughter of the great Glenn Campbell, and Glenn Campbell was a brilliant musician, and he had Alzheimer's. And instead of retiring, he decided that he would tell the world about Alzheimer's and continue going for as long as he could. And Ashley was there right through that. And she wrote a song about her father's Alzheimer's. And eventually she knew he wouldn't know who she was or remember her name or anything. And of course, my mum had Alzheimer's for 16 years. It was an absolute nightmare and ghastly. It's disgusting, revolting, shocking disease. I won't wish it on anybody. Anywho, she sang this beautiful song, just her on a guitar. And I'm like, I am not going to cry because she's right in my line of vision. And I just kept my head, I just kept staring at her because it was really like, you know, and there was a line, I'll get it wrong, but it's got a new album out, which is beautiful. But the line was, I'll do the, if I get it wrong, I apologize in advance. I'll do the remembering for you. And I'm thinking, yeah, what a lot. And that went into my heart.
Oh my!
And she's sitting, God. She's about 4 feet away from me because I booked in, because I booked in June 6-7 months ago and forgot about it. They put me at the in front. I couldn't be any closer. I could literally, which I ate because I like to be at the back out the way. Anyway, so I can't, you know, make a fool of myself. But that song about Alzheimer's and Glenn Campbell, and you think it was so layered in as much as here's one of the most famous people in the musical world, that loved and adored by tens of millions of people, Glenn Campbell. He gets Alzheimer's. He's the same as anybody else. It doesn't discern, it doesn't discriminate, it doesn't care, it just affects anybody. And there's his daughter, who's a big star in Nashville, making a big name in Europe as well. And yet she's his daughter. So it was the musical side of it, the bond between the daughter and the father. There was a lot to unpick, no pun intended. And Julie Voice, you messaged me that the other day, didn't you, Julie? And she's saying this, I'm just starting out on this awful journey with my mum. Julie, my heart breaks for you because it's a one-way trip to nowhere. There is no upside to
and you just don't know how it's going to manifest itself.
Day by day.
Yes.
Day by day. Julie, if I can give you one piece of advice, and you're welcome to try and reach out any time. I don't often give advice because I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, and I don't think it's my position. But with Alzheimer's, the person you love just disappears and it's replaced by somebody else that you just don't know who the hell it is. And my mum didn't know me, and I really didn't know the woman who was inhabiting my mum's body. It's not personal.
No.
And Julie, I know this at this point, you're at the beginning of this horrible journey. I'm not going to pretend it's nice, but it's not personal. I had to say this to my very dear friend Hilary O'Neill when her lovely mum, Val, Showbiz Val, as she was known, got dementia. It's not personal. She's not being rude to you. Her real emotions to you haven't changed. And Julie, whatever the future may hold, the changes are not personal to you. It's the illness. It's the remapping, reprogramming of their brain. Nothing to do with you as a daughter. And I really...
And this is it. They're fighting as well, this awful disease.
Must be like watching yourself drown. It's like watching yourself. It must be like watching yourself drown, because somewhere they know this is happening and they're fighting it, and they can't fight it because it's too strong. It's a terrible, horrible disease. You know, everyone always goes on about cancer, but boy, oh boy, Alzheimer's. I wish on it. I really wish.
But Julie, make sure you take time for yourself as well, because
you will need it.
Obviously, you know, we all want to look after our parents and look out for them and things like that. Certainly with my mum, I was her only child. I'm her only child. We, you know, I made sure I checked in, I was there, sorted things out. But equally, I thought to myself, I need to rest, because otherwise I can't help her either. It comes back to what Neil always says, you can't give from an empty cup. You'll
stop functioning. You will stop functioning. Yeah, Julie, you're going to have to pace it. And if you want to talk about it, please do. Kenny, it's been a joy to see your little cherubic face with your beatific smile. It's been lovely.
More whispering.
I can't wait to come back.
So you're going to come back, please God, in January. We'll talk, and then we'll set the whole thing up.
Wonderful.
That's it. Kerry Stoneman saying goodbye all. Hope everything is okay, Russ. Thank you, Kerry. Much appreciated. God only knows. I'm going to say cheerio everyone. To the wonderful Liz Saul. Liz, bless you for joining us. Thank you, Kenny. Always a pleasure. You know this is your home.
Neil should be back with you on Monday.
Oh, for God's sake! Looking up. Bye, everybody. Until I'll be back Friday. I'll say that again in English. I'll be back Friday. Till then, take care.